Okay, YouTube channel. Man, it's been a minute. So I just realized I've gotten very, very busy doing some things. I'll talk about it a little bit. Um, but anyway, it's been 3 months since I put a video up. Now listen, I've sold a house in North Carolina. It was what we called the Barney house. It ended up having like a purple color. In the lows, it looked like barn red. And once I got it down to the house in North Carolina and we started painting it was a one coat paint, which is probably the best paint I've ever bought. It was $100 and some a gallon or something crazy. I forget. It was ridiculous. But the house had been years with no paint. I didn't want to put several coats on it. And it literally was the best paint that I've ever painted with. But the color came out looking like purplish. And we always would call it the Barney house. So anyway, we sold it. It appraised at $54,000. We lowered it a couple times. We had it at $55,000, and then we lowered it, and then we lowered it again. We ended up having it right at $50,000. Somebody offered me $50,000. We went almost to closing, and it fell through. We had another guy offered me cash for it. Same deal. I think one was $52,000. One was $50,000. One, I was in Thailand. Actually, twice I was in Thailand, 2 different times. And the house fell through one time the day before closing. The only good thing about that scenario is I made them put a big earnest down. And it wasn't based on financing because it was cash, and they lost $5,000 because of that. And they should have. I took it off the market when the market, they were getting 10% higher than the asking price. So I took all that time where it couldn't be sold, held up for somebody, and I do not feel bad whatsoever that they lost $5,000 because I ended up having to put it back on the market, sold again, fell through. A third time fell through, and the fourth time I just closed it a month or two ago for $40,500. So if you add the $5,000 on it, it would be $45,000. So it really only came down $5,000, and we closed it. I'm done with it. And but here's a good thing. Even with that amount of money, I bought it for $18,000. I put in. I don't have the folder right in front of me. This is another one down there, old wire, which is one I'm getting ready to finish and make some money. But basically, it's like we put in $13,000. We bought it for $18,000. That's $31,000. And just a little teeny bit of closing money, hardly anything, $500. $31,500. I made $40,500. So I made about $9,000. Plus I got my money back, my $18,000. Of course, I get my money back. I invested in it too. I get that. Hold on, maybe not. Well, I get my $18,000 and $9,000. So I end up with $27,000 because I get my money I put in back, and I get my profit back. So $27,000 out of the $40,000 was profit. So can't beat that. But anyway, what I did do was I paid down $22,000 in debt, and then I still have $20,000 of it in the bank. Well, I'm sorry, $19,000. Tried to stick at 20, but I have a guy that's in a house here in Delaware that hasn't paid me the last 3 months' rent. I finally went to court, and he will be out, I'm pretty sure, tomorrow. They gave him 10 days after the court hearing. Now, 3 months it took me to get the court order and this and that or whatever. So he got 3 months free, basically. I probably will never get the judgment. It's on him for $11.50 a month, so $34.50, and then some court costs, $3,500 and some dollars, which I'll probably never see. Maybe a couple years from now, when it's got 9% interest on it monthly, and it's up for $5,000, I'll pay somebody to go collect it for me, and see if they can get a hold of his income tax or something like that. But for right now, I'm just glad to get the man out of the house. I'm putting it for sale. It had 2 offers on it when he was in the house, and he wouldn't leave. And I offered him, give you a deposit back, give you 1 month's rent on top of that back. So you would have $2,300, plus I would pay for the moving van and the gas. He didn't want that. So now I go to the house, I believe tomorrow night. I got to call the sheriff's office and make sure that's the exact date. The judge said 10 days after the decision, which is 10 days after the 23rd would be the 2nd. I go on the 3rd, knock on the door. If he's still in that house, I call the sheriff. They should be able to say, go gather your stuff, whatever you're going to take with you, and get out. And then what I do is I start throwing all his stuff out of the house. And he can come and get it or do whatever. I can't throw it away, but I can put it out of the house. And I'm not trying to even be vindictive about it right now. I just want you out. And then I got to go through and paint, put new carpet in, whatever I got to do. Hopefully he hasn't tore the house up because it wasn't tore up when he got there. And then if I have to repair it, I go back to court and get that on top of it. So, but I just want to get the thing sold. I need that money for a project I'm going to tell you about. And I'm actually going to YouTube video, the whole entire process of I have an offer to purchase a 34-room hotel in Danville, West Virginia. It's on the river. It's on the Coal River. It's called Coal River Inn. I'm going to change it to Coal River Resort. We're going to put some tiny houses on it, some dome houses, 2 tree houses, and they have 34 rooms. 12 of them are going to be for veterans on one side. The other side just nightly rentals. I'm probably going to add a $100,000 pool at the end. Not at the end, but as we go, we're getting income in. But it does about $150,000 a year. We should do sales of literally, I'm on a low end with the Airbnb houses, 13 of them, $1,200,000 and some thousand a year. So I have an $800,000 offer on the hotel. I have whatever the rest, it's 200 and some thousand. The difference from that to $1,076,000. I guess I should figure it out and tell you. So I got 800,000, 1,076,000 minus 800,000 equals $276,000 above the asking price. Well, not the asking. He was asking $1.2 million. It's not worth that. I've worked it out a couple different ways per room. Should go about $25,000 per room times 34. I think top end is $900,000. He had a restaurant there that they've closed. Been closed 20 some years. He had a bar. He had like this 100-foot dance floor. It's crazy. Then back in the day, man, they were the shit. When they were younger. These people are 84 years old. But back, he's run it over 40 years. Back 20 years ago, they were the happening place. He said he really had no competition in town. So he had like the coolest bar, dance floor. He brought in live music from New York. He had an agent that did it. I mean, he had it going on, dude. And I'll put it this way. They had it going on so much that when he had the 12 rooms, original rooms, they added 22 more rooms. Some of them are 2-story, where you have the kitchenette, little dinette thing, and you go upstairs to the bedroom. So it's 2 stories on some of it, but he had 22 more rooms. You know what he said? I don't use banks. So he paid it for himself. So they're not hurting for money. They're 84. It's worth $800, $900 top end, but I got to gut the kitchen because it's been closed. All the equipment's obsolete. And I also have to redo the bar. Gut it. Throw everything out of it. It's 20-some years old. The taps are like antique. So he's had some water damage here. I may have to tear some stuff off, redo some stuff, but I'm not worried about that. We get in. We gut the kitchen. We clean out the whole entire building. He's got 40 years of stuff piled up in centerpieces for tables and whatever. We continue to, we immediately start putting veterans into 12 because I'm contacted all those people. And I'll go through all that on videos of, the people I've called, just call after call after call after call of the regional coordinators, VA coordinators that put veterans in housing. I've contacted the community development center that help you in the community and get businesses started and whatever, and just on and on and on and on. And whoever I can get to help me, I will. I'm looking for grants. But ultimately, I'm going to pay my own way. If I get grants, that's an extra. They're hard to get. Only 20% of grants that are applied for get them. So it's not a high success rate. You can write it yourself and not spend a lot of money, but sometimes they say it's better to have somebody write them, pay them $1,000 or whatever, but you may not get that back, but you still use it as an expense. But anyway, so the first thing is we get veterans in the housing. That's money generated. We already have the 22 rooms that are still nightly. They have regular customers. Then we immediately begin building the platforms. They're all going to be up on platforms, 2 dome houses and 12 tiny houses. 2 are going to be tree houses in trees. And I've got pictures of them. I can't show you because it's on the phone. I guess I need to get another phone for videos. Then I can hold up the pictures like this. You can see I don't have any elaborate production things and cameras and GoPros. I probably need to do that. But for right now, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to walk through how I got the down payment. I sold a house. I'm refinancing the house that I live in. It has $100,000 equity. They could only get me about $47,000, most people. And what I did is I talked to a bank. It's the bank that holds my mortgage. And this is tricks that you want to learn, that it took me years and years and years, over 15 years to learn these things. You talk to your bank and say, listen, I want to close the loan. I want you to pay the loan off by a loan you're going to give me for 100% of the value. My house is appraised at $330,000. So I want you to loan me $330,000 and pay off the balance of the loan. So just like you're giving somebody a brand new loan, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to take the $330,000 and pay off my $228,000 loan. And then I have some closing costs, and I end up with $96,000 equity I get. So it can't be done any other way other than to do a new loan totally of 100%. And so that's what I asked them to do. They said they would. I've paid my debt down very low. I have a second home. I have 2 mortgages. One's a rental. Guy hasn't paid me for 3 months. So this time we put him out finally. We will tomorrow or a day or two. I'm calling the sheriff's office tomorrow. And supposedly today's the 1st of February. I can either go on the 3rd, 2 days from now, or I have to wait 5 more days, which is the day that he can appeal the judgment. But I'm not sure if it guarantees that he stays in the house. I think he can appeal the judgment, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to call the sheriff's department, because when I go and knock on that door and he's still in that house, I'm going to turn to them and say, I need you to escort him out of the house. Get him out. He's trespassing. And I have a court order. I have possession of the house, of my own house. And he's already sent me, didn't pay me for 3 months, but he sent me a message. I ain't heard from him in 3 months, other than a few weeks ago he had the audacity to get me out of bed and say, I have a pipe that's leaking. I need you to come fix it. I said, you got some balls to call my phone and ask me to come spend money when you haven't paid me rent in 3 months. But I'm going to come fix it so it don't tear my house up. But you got some balls, buddy. Hung up, and then later he messaged me and said, I got it stopped. Now, I don't know, and I hope he does. It didn't tear my house up and let water just run through it. But if he did, I'm going to court and sue him when I get it fixed, however much it cost. And then I will track him down and have him sued, take him to court in a civil court. And like I said, if he don't show up, I put another judgment on him, and at some point, I will pursue it through a collection agency that will literally pursue his job. If I don't think he's working now. I don't know how he's getting money, but whatever. Through his job with a wage garnish or his taxes. So when he thinks he's going to get like $4,000 or $5,000, he's got a bunch of kids, this and that, whatever, and then he gets his tax return because he won't know about it, it'll be like nothing. Boy, I can't wait for that one, because he put me in a financial bind to pay 2 mortgages when I hadn't planned on paying 2. But anyway, back to the hotel. So I'm going to film every day. Here we are. I just bought it. It closed yesterday. Here's the property. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to film. Here's us putting the platforms in. I'm going to try to keep it short. 15 minutes or so or whatever, and I'm at that now. But for the last thing, I made $40,000. See if I can show you on here. What's that say? $40,500 right there. That's my gross proceeds. And actually, I might say net. It says gross, but it was net. I'm sorry, there was something come out of that. No, I don't think. I think I actually got that. I'm not sure. Anyway, whatever I got, I paid my debt down 20-some thousand, and I put 19,000 in the bank. That's what I got in my business account right now, 19,000. And so I'm going to add the 96,000, I think it is, 19,000. So I got 11. Hold on, 100 and shucks. Put all these zeros down. 115,000 when I got 96 and 19. I think that's right. 9 and 6 is 15, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 115,000. And then I'm going to sell the other property and probably net 40,000 out of that I'm putting the man out of. I don't need all that. I'm going to use some of it for something else. But I do have to come up with 107,000 and 107,600 is my down payment. And that's how this 115,000 is where I'm going to have that from. The equity out of this house, the money out of the Barney house, the 40,000, part of that, paying the debt down to get my credit score up, and then the rest will be from the 40,000. That's not even on there yet. From a house I have in Seaford, Delaware, which it's a rental, but it's getting ready to be sold. And then, and I'm going to explain some things I'm going to do other than the hotel. But for now, we're going to put the money in the bank, use the money from the bank I'm borrowing, $1,076,000, give the owner 100,000 or 800,000. Start putting the platforms up for the dome houses and for the other tiny houses. They're all going to be raised up because it's off a river, which he claimed one time in 30 years it came up to the back of the property. So we'll be up 6 feet. And it's got to come up on one end of the river 5 feet. However, on the other end where it came up to the building, it's much lower there. So let's just say 6 feet. I'm going to make sure it's up at least 6 feet. And hopefully the river will never swell any higher than that. And I won't ever have a problem with flooding. So anyway, I'm going to keep you abreast of this. And once I sell the Seaford house, I'll tell you, here's what it went for. Here's what I netted. I bought that on a VA loan with no money down. I took money out of my 401k loan to pay the closing. It was $10,000 some dollars. I didn't have it in my bank account at the moment while I was waiting for the loan. I borrowed it from my son. We transferred money back and forth. He gave me a gift. I've talked about this before in my videos, and I'll explain to you about how you can use gifts and pay them back. Anyway, and so my next thing will be selling the Seaford house, and I'll cover that. And then once I sell that, go through the numbers. The next thing will be push the bank into finalizing a loan for the $1,076,000. The property should appraise at somewhere around $900,000. I'm adding value to it, plus it has an income, which gives it a capitalization rate. I'll explain that. You can go up to 5-6 times your gross profits, which is $150,000 times 6, $900,000. And then I'm adding tiny houses, which increases the property value. So they should loan that out. If they want, I'll have more money as a down payment if they want me to lower that. So we'll be good for that. And then I'll go through all that with you. I'll go over the property. Here's the platforms. Hey, we put the domes on them. We're renting them. My son's doing the Airbnb. All these setup for the Airbnbs my son is doing. He's going to buy in at 20% of the business. He gets 20% of the profits. And that's how that's going to go. He doesn't have to run anything. All he has to do is set up the Airbnbs. I cover the rest. It's my children. He's in the Army. You ain't got to do nothing other than set me up. I want my children to be set up for success. They already are successful. I want them to be more successful. And my daughters are going to be brought in at some point doing something, whatever, doesn't matter. They all own their homes. They're all making good salaries. But I want their future to be much better than it had to be for me working 15 years grinding it out. I'm not going to hand it to them. They're going to earn it. But they're not going to have to struggle through what I struggled through for 15 years. They can just run a business that they got money in. They get to be fortunate for investing in a successful business. So anyway, I'm at 20 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm going to cut it short. And till next time about selling the Seaford house. And then we'll go through that, those numbers, what I did to get it, when I sold it, what I got and all that. And then we'll go from there. See you next time.